Yeah, we obviously we had a tough ball game versus Arkansas this past Saturday. I thought our kids fought hard. I didn't think we played particularly well in the first half, offensively especially. We gave up some really tough plays in the passing game at safety that we have to correct. But I felt overall our defense played really hard. Offensively, we played a little bit better in the second half. We didn't play, good at all, really, offensively. But it was a good environment for our kids to be in and kind of understand where they are and what we have to get to. I feel like, this week, obviously gives us that opportunity to be at home for the first time. We've been on the road 2 weeks and a bye week, so it gives us an opportunity to get a chance to play before our home crowd.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from the Austin American. Caller, please introduce yourself and go ahead.
Great, thank you. Coach, this is Kev Tardello. I'm sure there was a lot that you took away from the game in Arkansas, but what were 2 or 3 of the top things you learned about your team last Saturday?
Well, I learned that we've got some individuals on our team that the moment isn't too big for them. It's kind of fun to watch those guys go play against, obviously a top 25 team. There's a couple guys, a couple of our young guys that really stood out. They were young. They're not ready for that kind of action, but they fought hard. I felt like our defense really played hard the entire game. We didn't play smart in the secondary at times, but we attacked the line of scrimmage and tried to hold our own against a very, very big and physical offensive line, and I felt like we didn't really get pushed around much until the second half when the game when we got tired on defense. But I felt like our guys fought really hard. So I took that out of it, and I felt like our kids did a good job of competing the entire ball game.
Great. And what's the key for your team to move on from this loss and focus up on Houston?
Well, we've already moved on, and we started practice yesterday on our next opponent. And we don't dwell much on victories. We don't dwell much on losses because it's a long journey and a long season. And what we do is we try to correct and correct the things that we can correct, control the controllables, and move forward. And that's what we're doing right now.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you. Our next questions come from Joseph Durati with the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
But just curious, any early impressions on Houston's defense? I don't know if you had a chance to watch the fourth quarter of the Cincinnati game, and just the fact that they're the nation's leading run defense and have been able to, looks like they've been able to get some pretty good pressure this season on the quarterback.
Yeah, they have. They've done a really good job of in their front seven. They've got some very talented players up front and very opportunistic defense when it comes to turnovers. Also, that's been their MO the last year and a half so far. So I've been very impressed with them up front. I watched the Oklahoma game. I thought they physically beat Oklahoma, which is you wouldn't expect that, but they did. And I think it's a really big-time challenge for us offensively to be able to find a way to run the ball and also be able to protect the quarterback.
How valuable does Adrian Mays become for you this week in terms of his knowledge and just being associated with the program over here?
Yeah, I think he knows the players. Obviously, he's been around them. He knows kind of the mindset. The one thing that's real valuable for a lot of our guys on the staff was we kind of know what Tom's trying to put together. We kind of know the blueprint. So it's not much different than what we're trying to do here. And so we understand it. I think Adrian being in it understands it. We use what we can use and use all the resources we can use.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, and we have time for one more question. John Whistler with the San Antonio Express. John, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I didn't see the number of plays you ran against Arkansas. It looked like you had some tough sledding against their defense, particularly running the ball. What was the issue there?
Well, we couldn't run it, and that was the issue. And you know, we weren't successful on early downs in this offense, and like any other tempo offense, if you're not successful on early down, first down, and creating second and medium and short, you don't give yourself a chance to stay on track, to stay ahead of the chains. We weren't able to do that. I think we ran in the 50s plays-wise, which is way under what we want to be. I thought Arkansas had a really good plan. They did a good job of not letting us get into tempo. We really didn't get into tempo until the beginning of the second half. And that was created by our miscues and our mistakes up front, the offensive line, and not executing on offense. So for us to be successful as a team, you know, a big part of what we do has to be tempo in our offense and moving the ball and changing the field with our offense.
How do you correct that this week against another good defense?
Go back to work on your fundamentals and the things that you want to try to get done. You know, and obviously we want to try to run the football, and we want to be able to throw the football off of our run game. So we've got to be able to go back and work on those things. That's what you do with practice.